So how much does it actually cost to build a home? Because depending on what you're looking at, the answer, well, it can be pretty different. Most people will see an advertised price and assume that that is what they'll pay, but in reality, it's only part of the picture. And that's where things can start to feel a little bit confusing. Now in this video, I'm going to show you how to approach building with clear, predictable costs so that you know exactly what to look for. We'll break down what actually makes up the total cost and how to make sure that you're comparing options properly right from the start. Because learning a little bit about how it all works before you start gives you an understanding of the building process and what's involved. It's kind of like riding a bike. Once you're up and running, you're away. Let's get into it. So let's start with the number everyone wants to know. What does it actually cost to build? And this is where it can vary quite a bit. A typical build can range anywhere from around $300,000 through to $850,000 and beyond. The choices you make along the way have a direct impact on the final cost of what you are building. So think about it like this. Picture a home in your head. Beautiful, isn't it? How big is it though? How many bedrooms are there? Is it more entry-level build or does it have a higher end finish? Now for this home in your head, is the site you're building on flat and easy to build on, or does it need extra preparation? All of those factors, they change the price, which is why the range can be so broad. By using a per square metre rate, you can understand that for a similar standard of building, this one costs X per square metre, this one costs X plus maybe 40%. So getting your head around that dollar per square metre rate is a really good way to look at the value you're getting for what you're spending. Here's a couple of examples that'll help explain things just a little bit. Here you can see 3 homes, all different sizes with an entry-level, mid-range and premium build price. That gives you a clearer idea of how size and specification impact the overall cost of a home. Now this is where a lot of people get it a little bit wrong. They see that building price and assume that's the total cost. But in reality, there's a few key components outside of that, and understanding them early is what keeps your budget predictable. Because not all blocks of land are the same. And depending on the conditions, well, this can have a real impact on your overall cost. Let's take a look at how site conditions affect your build. Before the construction even begins, there is a stage called earthworks, which is everything required to prepare your block so it's ready to build on. Things like clearing the land, levelling the site, managing your soil conditions, and setting up the foundations all fall into this. The level of site works required can vary quite a bit. On a straightforward block, site works might sit around $10,000 to $20,000. But on a more complex site, that can increase to $30,000 to $50,000 or more. Of course, these are general ranges, and the exact cost, that always depends on your specific block and your conditions. Things like slope, soil, location, and access, they can all influence how much work is needed before you even start building. Another example. If your block is sloping, you may need additional earthworks, retaining walls, or more complex foundations, all of which can add to cost. Some sites require additional preparation or engineering to ensure that the home's built on a stable base. And then you've got zoning and location factor. If you're building in a bushfire-prone area, your home may need to meet a higher BAL rating, which can require specialised materials, upgraded windows, specific construction methods. Similarly, in coastal areas, there can be additional requirements to protect against salt and wind exposure. So while 2 blocks might look similar on the surface, the underlying conditions can be very different, and that's where costs can vary. Key is understanding your site early and making sure that you've allowed for these costs in your overall budget, so you can plan properly and avoid surprises later on. And if you're not sure where to start, well, this is something a good builder like Home Group can guide you through. Now, they'll help you choose the right block. They understand all the costs up front, and so you can move forward with much greater confidence. Inclusions. I do love inclusions, and inclusions are one of the biggest factors that can influence the total cost of your build. And this is also where 2 homes that look similar on paper can end up at very different price points, because what's included and what's not makes a huge difference. At base level, inclusions will usually cover the essentials. Things like standard tapware and fittings, your lower ceiling heights, basic lighting, builder grade flooring, and standard cabinetry. These homes are functional, well built, And for some buyers, especially investors or those entering the market, this level can make a lot of sense and be achievable. But it's important to understand that you may want to upgrade certain finishes over time. I certainly love an upgrade. So let's step up into the mid-range or designer inclusion. Okay, this is where the home starts to feel more complete, right? From day one. You'll typically see things like stone bench tops. Yep, upgraded tapware, overhead kitchen cupboards for extra storage. Who doesn't love extra storage? And higher quality flooring throughout your home. Then you can jump all the way to premium. That is where the focus shifts more towards lifestyle and long-term living. You might see features like waterfall stone bench tops, a scullery. Oh, don't you know how much I love a scullery? With a menu in it. Beautiful. And a butler's pantry, that goes well with the scullery. Premium laundry finishes, reverse cycle air conditioning. You got higher end fixtures, right? And your branded appliances. But if you're after premium, you pay a premium price. So make sure you've allowed that extra in your budgeting. Because ultimately, inclusions determine whether your home feels like something you want to upgrade over time or something that already feels complete from day one. Hidden costs. They're an important part of understanding your total build cost, and getting clear on them early is what helps keep your project on track. You want to make sure you talk to your builder. Say, hey, what are my hidden costs? Be aware of this stuff really early. We've already touched on site works, which is one of the biggest ones, but beyond that, there are a few others to keep in mind. Retaining walls, that's a common example. If your block has any slope at all, well, you may need retaining walls. Depending on the height and the length, that can range anywhere from around $5,000 through to 30 grand or more. And then there's council-related costs. Things like development approvals, building permits, compliance certificates can typically sit in the range of 3 grand to 5 grand. You'll also need to connect services to your home: water, sewer, power, gas, and communications. And depending on your block, the proximity to existing infrastructure, well, that can add a few $1,000s as well. And then there's your landscaping and your fencing. These are not often included in the building contract, but are essential to actually finish your home. Basic front and back garden with fencing, that can easily range from $10,000 to $30,000. When you're comparing builders, the cheapest contract price doesn't always mean the cheapest overall build. So take the time to look beyond the headline number. Ask questions of your builder and make sure that you're comparing the full picture so that you can avoid those hidden costs. Now, I've got a bit of good news for you. Once you understand cost, well, you can start to save money, because building becomes a lot simpler, and there are some really smart ways to save that cash, stay in control of your budget, and still create a home that you are genuinely excited about. Building on a budget doesn't mean cutting corners. It means making the right decisions from the start so that your money goes further. One of the easiest ways to do that is starting with your design. You choose an established home design. It gives you a proven foundation. Then you can personalise the parts that really matter to you without the extra cost and time of going fully custom. Your block is another big lever. A flat, easy to build site with good access can save you thousands before construction even begins, simply by reducing the amount of work that's required to get a house on top of it. Then it comes down to how you prioritise your home. In many cases, a slightly smaller home with better inclusions will feel far more comfortable. Focus on the spaces that you use every day. Another smart option is your house and land package. Because the home has already been matched to the block, it removes a lot of the guesswork and helps you avoid unexpected costs. There's also opportunities to reduce your upfront costs. Grants, incentives, like the first homeowner grant or stamp duty concessions, they can make a real difference depending on your situation. Locking in your selections early helps you avoid changes during construction. Finally, one of the most important decisions that you'll make, apart from who you marry, is the builder you choose. A good builder, well, they help you navigate the process. They're always accessible and available to help you answer questions that you might have along the way. Because in the end, it's not about spending less, it's about building smarter so that you get the best possible home. Now let's bring all this together with a real example. Here you can see a comparison between two builds. On one side, you've got Home Group, a builder with over 37 years and 20,000 homes experience. On the other, you've got a builder with a low starting price. At first glance, the cheaper option can look like better value, but once you start adding in things like the site costs, the inclusions, all the extras that weren't included up front, the total costs start to climb. And in many cases, it can actually end up more expensive than the option that looked higher to begin with. Whereas a builder, like Home Group, where more is included right from the start, you get a much clearer and more predictable total cost, and often better overall value. So it's not just about the starting price, it's about what you're actually getting for it. Finally now, let's look at what a realistic mid-range budget looks like in WA and Victoria. Here you can see a side-by-side comparison. It shows you how a typical build comes together in each location. While the structure is the same, the overall pricing can vary depending on the market, labour and material costs in each state. The key takeaway from both these examples is pretty simple. When you understand the full picture, you're able to compare properly. You set a realistic budget and you move forward with a whole heap of confidence. So when you step back and look at everything that we've covered, the key to building with confidence really comes down to understanding the full picture. Focus on setting a realistic budget. Make smart decisions early and work with a builder who's transparent about what's included and what's not. And if you're at the stage where you're starting to explore your options, you just want clarity around what your build could look like, well, the team at Home Group, they're always there to help. We'll guide you through the process, break down the costs, and help you put together a plan that'll work for your budget and your lifestyle. You can just move forward when you're ready with confidence, knowing that everything is taken care of by professionals that have been doing it a very long time and very, very well.